Have you ever felt that whisper in your soul calling you to something more, but all the things spinning around in your mind have kept you stuck? Well, what if I told you that choosing excellence could be both easier and more adventurous than you could ever imagine? I am Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, your host of All Things Excellence. I'm a soul catalyst for excellence who leapt off that corporate cliff and left small-town Iowa farm life in my 20s to follow my calling, helping women come home to themselves by anchoring into who they're designed to be. I create sacred containers where women rediscover their truth, design their dream life, and transform those whispers into action. Now you can find me running my business from the soccer sidelines as a coach's wife, hiking my favorite Arizona mountain, or back in Iowa with my family, or on an adventure chasing my next sunrise, hot cup of coffee and journal in hand. Through intimate conversations about the stories, the traumas, and the transformations behind choosing excellence, we're creating a collective healing journey together. I believe in diving deep into personality designs, experimenting boldly, and learning life's greatest lessons through our beautiful chaos. Every week, my guests and I are going to rip down the curtains so you can see behind the scenes of real transformation as we explore what excellence actually looks like. Not just the highlight reel, but that messy middle where the magic happens. Whether you're seeking inspiration to take that leap or already on your journey and craving connection, this is your invitation to join us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Hello, All Things Excellence fam. Today, we are bringing the fun. We have the Enneagram 7 in the house, Cindy Machado. And let me tell you a little bit about her. With over 30 years of experience as a coach, which I can tell you, I remember being in the room, being coached by you. I mean, remember being in trainings with you, and you've always been one of my favorite people, which makes so much sense as an 8-wing 7. I
know,
get
right?
that.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. Now it makes sense now. Cindy has walked alongside countless women as they've broken through self-doubt and discovered the confidence to live fully themselves. She believes that true freedom comes when we understand our limitations, anchor ourselves in clear values, and lean into the unique strengths we've been given. She blends deep insights with practical tools like Gallup Strengths and the Enneagram to help you identify your gifts, navigate your blind spots, and find clarity in your next steps. Whether you're at a crossroads or seeking to grow into the next version of yourself, Cindy can help you move forward with purpose and confidence, which is so true. I think that is the most beautiful thing that shows the ultimate growth path of a 7. Because you do all of that so well. I have always admired you from afar. I remember a story where you were telling this story about how I think you'd been in business for yourself for about 10 years. And this was the first time I heard it. I was pretty new in business for myself. I'd only been in business for myself a few years. And I just felt like I was a hot mess express all over the place with the actual management part, which is the hardest part of the business, is actually managing it. And the way that you just admitted that the first 10 years of your business was
Messy.
so messy.
So messy. Oh my goodness.
But it was so permission giving. Like for you to admit it was a mess, it was a disaster. It felt so good because you do such a great job at telling stories about how you've lived your life, and the way that you do that removes so much shame for people who are currently living in what you've previously lived in.
Yeah. I think that kind of transparency is the most impactful for people because no one is immune to mistakes. And we all have, some are longer than others, some are 10 years, where you stumble around or you make some bad decisions or you're in a bad place. And so I think that I really believe that sharing those types of experiences with people is even more valuable than how I got where I am. Oh, I did this
Agree.
and this is how I succeeded, instead of going, okay, I had to dig myself out.
Hmm.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, I came in, and I started, in entrepreneurship and I did this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. So I think
Yeah.
it resonates with more than not.
Yeah. I do. I loved that. I loved that. That was my favorite thing. That was the day that I fell in love with you as just a mentor and a coach and a trainer. So, okay, so on the Enneagram, which
Yes.
you love using it in your coaching.
Ugh, life changing. Yeah.
Okay, how did you find the Enneagram and what did you really think about it when you first found it? And how did
So,
talk about the journey about figuring out that you were a seven? Because I think a lot of types can be hard to
yes, I did
embrace.
not. Yeah, I didn't get that in the beginning. So
Yeah.
it's the craziest thing. When I lived in Austin, Texas, I lived there for a short bit, and I really remember, I believe that season of my life was, it literally only served the purpose of me radically changing the way I saw myself. And it was because of the church I was going to. The
Mm-hmm.
pastor actually did a class, and I love this church because the whole theme is no perfect people allowed, and they really believed in personal development. And so they
Mm-hmm.
did a lot on, we're all a mess. We all have a lot of work to do. And so one
Yeah.
of the things is he did this class, and he said he was actually certified in strength finders, and
The pastor.
yeah, I know. So
I love this.
he knew strength finder. So he did a
Yeah.
class to say, we're going to go over strength finders,
Mhm.
Enneagram, and Myers-Briggs. I know, in the church. I know.
Whoa.
So that was the first time I'd ever heard of it. I had never heard of it. And this was about like 6 or 7 years ago.
That's what I was like. I was trying to think when you lived in Austin. Okay.
Like six
Okay.
years ago. So I went through the thing, and then I went, okay, this is interesting, but I don't get it because I cannot figure out what number I am. Like, I am
Hmm.
all over the place. Like, I just can't figure it out. And
Do you
it
think,
came up as three. Like, I thought I
yeah,
was three, and then
but do
uh,
you think that a lot of that is environmental, right? Like you were in we live in a very three country and
yeah,
you were in a very three
environment. I had a lot of
environment
threes
for
around
your
me.
career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had a lot of threes around you.
Yeah, so I'm an achiever. Like, I had
Yeah.
definitely been somebody who is extremely driven,
Hmm.
and I love, like fashion and all the fun things. So, image when it comes to threes, like, but
Hmm.
but I'm so transparent, and I am so raw, and I'm like, I'm an open book in a lot of ways. I'm very
Yeah.
private in a lot of ways too, but so that's where I was like, I
Which
don't,
conflicts a little bit with a three and a
yeah,
seven, being such
yeah.
an open book, being so vulnerable.
Mhm.
I mean, even that story, but I think maybe then it's going, what what happened in your life that made you find this acceptance to even tell that kind of a story, to stand in front of a room of hundreds of women and go, for the first 10 years, it was a mess and I was a mess.
I think because I was a mess and I knew how it felt.
Mm.
And I was like, I want to one day help someone who feels as awful as I do about myself to feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
Because deep down, I knew God had something special for me.
Yeah.
And I knew I had gifts and talents that I was not using, and I felt very unworthy.
Hmm.
And I knew other people had to feel that way, and they needed to know they weren't alone. So I
Mm.
really felt a need, and that's probably that wing eight of mine, of like the
For the
underdog.
sake of the world.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I will like speak up. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna speak up.
Yeah.
And so that, and then just God really radically rescued me and changed my life. And because of that, I felt this need to extend that same grace to other people and to say, listen, I'm not all that you may think
Yeah.
just because I've accomplished some things.
Hmm.
We're all a work in progress. So
Hmm.
that made me very transparent. But then figuring out the Enneagram was hard because now I understand, as I'm learning these subtypes,
Yes.
of why I was a little bit not sure. And I think some of you, if any of you out there are going, everyone talks about this Enneagram, but I don't really understand it because I can't figure out what I am. We're not that cut and dry.
Okay, so subtypes, you guys, there are so not only are there Enneagram 1 through 9, and everyone can, you have a dominant wing and then obviously your secondary wing, but there are subtypes where it's like you could be the one-to-one sexual, you could be more of a self-preservation, or you could be more of a social.
Right. So there's 3 subtypes to every number. So now that there's 27 options and instead of just 9, of course, the wings make a difference too, so figuring out like I'm a 7-8 made a whole lot more sense in that description versus a 7-6, which is very different than a 7-8.
Yeah.
So it takes reading. So once I read the book Road Back to You, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely a 7, because all the things about a 7 that resonated with me was I do not like sad. I don't stay sad long. I like happy. I don't like negativity. Nobody likes negativity, but negativity literally makes me want to scream and run in the other direction. Like 7.
Oh my gosh.
Like I can't handle it. I can't even breathe.
Almost like
around it
because you went through the sad, gross negativity, you hated being in it so much. You also hate seeing other people in it. So you're like, I would rather tell my crappy story than have to watch you go through suck one more day.
Yes.
It's really your need to avoid pain. Like you're like, I don't even want to watch y'all's pain. So I'm going to tell you my crazy story to God that you get out of your pain.
Hello.
That's where that comes from.
Yes. Okay, so here's what I've discovered now with this countertype. Okay.
Yes.
In my 20s, and really normally, okay, so this is, I read somewhere, those of you who are struggling of what your number is, think of yourself when you were in your 20s, and if you're in your 20s,
yes,
what kind of craziness are you in? Because you are usually the extreme of your number in your 20s. So I was an extreme 7 in my 20s. I was so spontaneous. I was chasing after every high I could find. Like I didn't do drugs, but I was like,
what does that look like? What did that look like for you in your 20s?
well, I was, I chased guys, so like that was my thing, was more of like wanting that attention.
Yeah.
And so it
was that high of the new relationship, maybe?
Yeah, it was like the chase. It was like I wanted them to like me. So I would like try to, get guys to like me. It was horrible. It was unhealthy. I hated myself. And so I was just always trying new things. I was moving different places. I went to 3 different colleges and didn't get a degree. Like I tried getting married, so I was married at a young age and then divorced, and it was just always awful. Like my 20s were horrible. And that was in the window of time where I was saying, like, I tell my story. Like that's why
you also being an entrepreneur though in this. Yes.
So
you were really chasing like the next surge of a life high.
Good. Well, what happened? So I was extreme in my personal life.
Yeah.
But this entrepreneur life was the life I wanted, that I feel like was truly me. But it was so responsible. Like, so, and it took long. Like I wanted instant. So I was battling all through my 20s of, okay, I want to live this life that is successful and, where I could really use my gifts, but I need to feel good right now, today.
Yes.
So that was what I was fighting my 20s until I woke up and God radically, literally rescued me out of this absolute insanity that I'm lucky I'm alive, literally. And then I just threw myself into my business. And when I threw myself into my business, the shift happened, and that's where the countertype. So there's 3 types of each number. So in the 7s, each type has either the social, self-preservation, or the sexual, which I hate they use that word, but
I hate they use it. It's like I see Beth and Jeff McCord, who I got certified through, they did more of a Christian lens. So they call it 1-to-1.
Yeah,
which I'm like, it's just more it's like
more
more
the
that
intimacy relationship.
intimate and intense. Like I think it's more intensely intimate.
Okay, so good. So I am the social 7.
Which
And
happens to be the countertype. It looks the least like
right.
a
So
regular
each
seven.
each number has three subtypes, and one of those subtypes is the countertype of the number. And so the countertype of sevens are more about them feeling good and, being really like adventurous and all that. And I'm not really like that. Like, I'm kind of a homebody.
But
I,
do you think you are in your own way?
I am. So the way that I find my spontaneity or my adventure
Yeah.
is through helping people.
Because that's what I wondered is so then if adventure doesn't look like our friend Robin, adventure to Robin is like going and staying if she could stay in a hotel every weekend, she would.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does adventure look like to you? Because you still love adventure. It's just it looks very different than I think people might think it does.
Exactly. So I'm still a seven and I love
Yeah.
adventure, but my adventure is more of it's an obsession of helping people be happy. Like I and
It's a joy thing for
it's
you.
a joy, but again, it's certainly not all, with good motives because
Yeah.
all of us have this slant to everything we do. We're all humans and we're all selfish. Like I don't care who you are,
Yeah.
the most unselfish person is selfish because so in that way I'm looking for approval. And I think it's because I had such a crazy life and I want to I want people to be like, no, you're a good person. Like, and I love serving. I love giving. I love surprising people with goodness.
Do you think that's in a seven? Like my mom, who is a seven, carries that same thing.
Well, approval seeking for sevens is a big thing.
Yeah. Just
Definitely.
to know it's important to you that people feel you're good.
Mhm. Yeah. And so I do it through instead of like entertaining. I mean, I can definitely be entertaining. I can be the one that's like, hey, and
You do have Airbnbs on your property.
so that brought me more joy. I never thought, because I'm very private and I like my alone time,
Yeah.
but having this Airbnb,
Yeah, she lives on a ranch. You live on a ranch because
yes,
it's a ranch. We're in Arizona, so it's a ranch in the
yes,
middle of nowhere,
right.
and you've put tiny Airbnb homes on
Yeah.
this ranch.
So, well, we have one right now, but we have two
Yeah.
conceptual right
Yeah.
now that's gonna happen
Yeah.
this year.
And you hold retreats at your house.
And so we'll have retreats because the home that we're living in, we're going to turn into a retreat center and we're building a barn dominium for us. So we'll have our own home. And then eventually this will be kind of like a whole village in the front
Yeah.
end of the property.
Yeah.
So the reason why I found so much joy in it is because I really love helping people have a wonderful experience. And so I find little ways to make it special. I love interacting with them. And as soon as I say we have baby goats, they're always just like, oh my gosh. And so um, now the new thing I'm leaving goat treats in a Ziploc for them to be able to go over and feed the goats, and I always write a personal note and I just go out, I try to make everything in there the things that I would want. And so it has made me so happy. And so my goal was to be a super host. So now I'm a super host. When I got the little notification, I was just like,
What?
"Did it." That was my goal. So it's like a big
Oh my gosh.
deal.
Okay, so because even I think this is an important thing to bring up. I think people, for some reason, tend to believe that anyone that likes achieving and winning must be a three.
Right.
And I always say nobody was born and said, I want to suck and be a loser. So
Right.
right, no one said that. So even to you, hitting that superhost for
Mhm.
Airbnb
Mhm.
was very important to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and again, you have to look at the things as the
What's
counter.
motivating you to want to win? Because that badge of honor really marks that you are helping people have the most fun, helping people have the greatest experience, which is the Enneagram, right? It's like
It means
it's not what is Cindy doing? It's why did Cindy do it? Why is Cindy happy and excited that she got this achievement?
yeah.
Because it represents
Mhm.
experience and fun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
the let's see. I was gonna like read something, but maybe I won't. So social sevens experience an inner taboo on selfishness and want to be seen as the good child or the good person. And when I
Mm.
was growing up, that was one of the things that my sister called me a lot, and that is selfish. My sister is a 2-1.
Mm.
So she was the one that was, would serve and sacrifice as a martyr, like she was
Yeah.
the one. And I was like, let's go, let's go. I want to go. I want this. I want that. I wanted more. Like when we go shopping, I wanted
More,
everything.
more, more.
I wanted it all. My
Yeah.
mom would be like, which outfit you want? I'm like, all of them. And
But
so,
that's the mark of a seven, like the gluttony thing.
right,
More is more.
right.
Like, squeezing all the juice
But
out of the
as I've
berry you
gotten
like.
older,
Yeah.
my gluttony has
Mhm.
turned into wanting. I
Goats.
can't get enough approval. Goats. I can't get enough approval. I can't get enough love from my goats. But
Ah.
I'm constantly, and that's one of the things that I'm really working on, is that
Mm.
constant need of saying, you're good.
The constant need for approval.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is a seven who is listening to this.
Mm.
I know she's listening to this. And it's very important that when people participate in her things, that they tell her that that was good. And if they don't, if they have critical comments, it is not a good day for her.
Yeah. Well, I
Oh
wait
my, yeah.
for the reviews. Like as soon as someone checks out,
Yeah.
I do the review and I wait for their
Mm-hmm.
review.
Mm-hmm.
And I even say to them, tell
Mm.
me anything I can make better. Like, let me know if there's anything I can make better. And
Because it's about the experience. It
it,
means that you gave them a great, fun, enjoyable experience.
and as painful as it is, if anyone ever says anything, like
Yeah.
someone said something recently that hurt because it was the truth. I did something,
Yeah.
like they were like, that wasn't accurate. And I was like, you know what?
Mm.
You're right. And I am so grateful, you know, thanks for saying that because that was wrong. I
Can we
should
talk
have
about
stepped in.
that
It
quote?
wasn't my place to say something, and I did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were, telling someone, and I said, no, 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 you could tell me. So
Yeah.
even though it hurts, I want so badly for them to be happy
Yeah.
that
To experience joy.
I'll take that on
Mm-hmm.
so that they know I did not mean to hurt them.
So how have you done that? How have you kind of, it is kind of like learning to face the difficult emotions and grow through those instead. How have you grown through that process where someone like it could be someone had an experience with you, someone came to your retreat, someone was in your previous business, someone stayed at your Airbnb and they didn't have a good experience. How have you grown in yourself to be able to take that as direction and not criticism that you're not good?
Oh gosh.
To be able to accept basically I'm like for the sevens of the world that have a really
Yes.
hard time accepting when people have an opinion because
hmm
people are entitled to an opinion. How do you work through that, not immediately going back at them,
hmm Oh,
going they're wrong?
I would get so defensive.
You know what I'm saying? Like how have you lowered your spirit of offense
Oh,
so that way you can create progress in life and not just be offended by someone's opinion of their experience because
it's
it made it feel like that you weren't good.
listen, girl. I'm a little older than you.
Yeah. You are, I mean a little bit, but so
Oh, I'm a lot
how
older
have
than
you
you. And it's taken a long time. Like, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, I
Yeah.
am now it's really been in the last 7 years of self-discovery and
Hmm.
understanding
Hmm.
here are my tendencies
Mm.
and that you can only grow when you don't take things personally, meaning they're not attacking me as a person.
Mm-mm.
They're addressing what I did.
Mhm.
And here's the other thing that I've always lived by in my healthy adult life.
Yeah.
And that is anything that is brought to light
Hmm.
can't hurt you. And
Yeah.
I say can't loosely. I mean, we can all get hurt, but ultimately, when you
Yeah.
don't hide something, deny it, not deal with it, push it
Yeah.
away, it can hurt you. because it will come out, it will come up, and then there's a problem. But if something comes at you and you deal with it right then and you admit it, you go, you know what? I handled that. I handled that wrong. There is
Yeah,
more respect in that.
absolutely.
And I've learned that it's not shameful to admit that you did something that wasn't right. Because what are they going to do when you go, you know what? You're right. They're going to go,
Yeah.
uh,
But also that
oh,
they're entitled to their opinion. Like I've not been to your Airbnb, but I could come to your Airbnb and go, I just didn't like it. And that just means I didn't like it. It doesn't mean I didn't like you. It just means I didn't like that.
right, right. I haven't had
You know?
anyone say that. So I'm just But I will say
But you
that
don't like you're getting to that place where you're not internalizing it, right?
yes, yes, and
Because that
they
is
did.
the crux of a
Exactly.
seven is like the need to avoid pain,
Right.
right? Every type has a need, and the seven's need is to avoid pain. And so I feel like the average seven, right, mid health to lower health seven, takes in someone's experience, their view of their experience, and they get so defensive. And so you have really gotten to that place where you have isolated this is how the experience was for them because of who they are
Mhm.
and what they were wanting.
Mhm.
And that does not mean I am bad. It means, I think I once heard in a training where it's like you could be the juiciest peach in the orchard, and at the end of the day, some people just don't like peaches.
Right. Right.
You
It's
know?
true. And
Yeah.
and
They don't
here's
like
the
peaches.
thing, I would run from mistakes,
Mm,
and then well, all that does is put you in a position to repeat them.
hmm
And because I didn't wanna be embarrassed, I didn't
Yeah.
want or I was embarrassed and I didn't wanna be humiliated, I didn't
Yeah.
wanna feel the pain of someone hating me because I did something bad. This was, in my 20s and 30s, some of my 30s,
Yeah.
like, I would just run away from it.
Yeah.
And instead, I've learned that the only way you have to go through the mistake
hmm
and to get to the other side. There's no way to the other side
Yeah.
unless you
But
go
through.
through it. Because if you go around it or you all this stuff, it is
Mhm.
gonna come back. And so finally, after my second failed marriage,
Mhm.
after conflict that I continuously had with, a couple people in my life, I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want
Yeah.
to be happy. And
Yeah.
I
Like
can't
happy, happy.
get these people to like me. I can't
Yeah.
fix a situation. I can only look at me. And that's when all that happened. That's when I moved when we were in Austin. And
Yeah.
that's when I saw it out. I was like, all right, I'm going to take that. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go through this recovery course because
Celebrate recovery.
yeah, well, this one's not the one they
Oh,
do
similar.
is Christian 12 steps recovery, but it's for
Yeah.
anything. Like some
Yeah.
people go in it because they have anger issues,
Yeah.
or they have control issues, like their obsessive controlling nature,
Yeah.
or it's substance, or it's all different things. So
Any.
I loved it because that church really believed that everyone should go through it. So I was
But
like,
we all have our thing. Like we all have some sort of an addiction. And
yes,
if you don't know your
the
addiction, you're just
self-soothe,
lying.
protect
That is the
yourself.
biggest blind spot, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is your addiction. Do you think it's harder for a seven to admit their fault in something?
Harder than who? I think it's harder for threes, to tell you the truth. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Well, do you think it's challenging? Do you think it's challenging for a seven to really face their part of the fault in when something
uh,
goes wrong?
well, okay. So what I have found
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
I I don't mind facing it.
Mhm.
I just don't want to park there. And I have people in my life that would be like, they want to just like hash it out, hash it. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
we're good. Like, this is good now. We're good, right?
Mhm. Mhm. You're
So,
like the drive-through. That is it. The
yes.
drive-through with one window. This is Dairy Queen. Okay, y'all, there is one window. There's not two. We're not stopping to pay and then stopping to pick up the food. One window, quick transaction. There's a
That's it.
big long line. Church just let out and it's Sunday.
Exactly. Like, it's
Let's
like, okay, I made a mistake. I get it. all
Yes.
right, it's fine.
Yes.
Let's go. Like,
Oh my gosh. As an 8, I like to make sure I like really get the point across all the way to the end. And my Enneagram 7 mom,
I'm like, done.
just
Stop. My ex was a 6.
crazy.
One of
Hmm.
my exes
He's just, oh, one of your, okay. I was like, your husband now is a
is a
3.
2, 2, 3.
He's a two wing 3.
Yeah. Awesome. And his 2, 3 came out like equal.
That's my husband's a 9. His core is a 9, but
Yeah.
his wing 1 is like 49% of his body.
Yeah. Like
He is 49, 51.
totally.
Be clear.
Same. So he's
Yeah.
definitely a 2, but his 3 is so high, it's hot. Like I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because my like driven side of me that
Yeah.
like, he definitely has that adventure and
Yeah.
competition and all that. But my ex is a 6, and he would want to like stay on a point until nausea. Like I would be like,
Yeah, but they like beat the dead bones of the dog that's been decayed for 7 months. I love
"What?"
my little brother so much, but he is the king of the 6s. And I'm like, Adam, the dog
It's
died
dead.
and decayed 6 months ago. You are beating the dust of the bones that have
So as a
decayed.
7, I
Ugh.
was like, "Oh my gosh,
Suffocating.
I am done. I'm done, okay? And do you want me to repeat it in 9
Again.
9 different ways because you think
Yes.
I didn't hear it? Well, I heard it. So
Yes.
here's what you said." Oh my gosh. It was just like, yeah. So
Oh
as
my
far as
gosh.
that goes as a 7,
Yeah.
I don't think so much that it's hard to, maybe for some, but
Yeah.
I definitely want to resolve a
Mm.
problem because I
Yeah.
don't want it to fester and grow. That's my,
You've learned that.
yes.
Let's get like
How to
resolution
resolve
is so
it.
much
I don't,
better.
and I've always pretty much wanted to talk things out. I don't like
Yeah.
things lingering out there. I like everyone to
Okay.
be happy. So if someone's upset about something, I want to work through it for
But some
sure.
but some sevens they think that the best way for everyone to be happy is to stick their head in the sand and just avoid it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a common thing of a mid-health to lower health 7.
Heck
They
yeah.
are the very head in the sand people. It's like they're wrong, I'm right. They're stealing my joy, they're negative, and I'm going to put my head in the sand about this.
Right.
Like that's common.
So this is what I'm going to tell you, 7s out there that do that.
Hmm.
You're prolonging the pain.
Thank you.
It will circle back up and you're going to have to deal with it again. So what I learned is deal with it head on,
Hmm.
admit when you're wrong,
Hmm.
and just know that some people are going to take a little bit longer to get to the happy. I want to be able to say, hey, you know what? You're right. My bad. Da, da, da. Let's go. And
Hmm.
thank goodness my current husband moves quickly through things like that too. So he's really quick to be at the other side of happy. But you gotta deal with it.
I love it. We're
Yeah.
ma- we're making a reel out of that. And we're making sure we're gonna put an ad on that reel to make sure all y'all 7s catch it.
Heck yeah.
Um, what? Okay, I want to just for one moment, a
Mhm.
quick moment, for the sake of so many people in the world. I feel like I have a lot of friends who are in this 40-ish to 60-year-old range that they've had one or two marriages
Mhm.
and they are they want nothing more in their life than to find
Mhm.
this person to
Mhm.
experience the rest of their life with.
Mhm.
And they are really struggling to find that. Like, how do you feel like you came to this? Like, how did you, I think there's a lot to work through that, right? You had to work through, like two previous marriages to allow yourself to find number three. You had to work through what didn't work. You had to work through your part in it. How did that? And I think that, there's Enneagram 7 stuff in that as well, but I think then there's a lesson in that
Yeah,
itself.
for sure, for sure. Okay, so
Yeah.
here's what I would say, and I'm glad that you are asking this because this
Yeah.
is something at some point I do want to make some kind of a,
We could do a whole episode on
yeah,
this.
I
Yeah.
definitely want to speak on this more. But the thing with, I do not
Mhm.
condone, you know, divorce and all the things. Like
Yeah.
I am not saying, oh, just leave them and try it again.
Yeah.
That was really not, I stayed in my first one because I didn't believe in divorce, but
Mhm.
I was so young and so jacked up that I destroyed it. I should never got married, really, these two. But the second, one, again, everything looked good on paper. And so I thought it was a good move. I didn't know any of these things that we're talking about. I didn't know any of these things.
Yeah.
And if I had, it would have been completely a different decision. And
Because y'all
so
were married for a while.
15 years, and I was going to stay until God said, get out. Like I really did feel, and I was on my face, prayer, had other people praying for me. Like one of my pastors, my original, like real spiritual father, like, said, yeah, it's done. Like he literally said. And so I knew it was the right thing to do. But then, is remarriage okay? Well, I did the work. I did the work because I knew I needed to be married.
Yeah.
You knew you were supposed to be.
I was supposed to be. I wanted to be. I loved being a wife. I wanted a partner and I wanted to serve and I wanted to come as the best me. So I worked on me.
What did the work look like? Because I think some people think, I listened to the podcast. I went to therapy for a few months.
Oh, yeah.
What did the work look like?
Yeah. The work looked like being honest with my mistakes. And I know that one of the things that I tend to do as a fast-paced, adventure-seeking run to the next happy is I move fast and I want to get to happy fast. And in the beginning, I kept running away from my mistakes. Like you said, stick your head in the sand. Why just move? Or I would just change my circle of friends or my location or, the guy. And so
My wing 7 is strong for anybody listening, you
Yeah.
judgmental people. Like, yes, I know. Anybody that knows me well is like, Chelsea, sure she's on a 7. It's just a very strong wing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I would be like, let's start over. I want to do over, like that's how I was living my life. And so finally, I said, the work that I did was literally, I had to truly acknowledge and repent for the part that I played in the demise of my marriage. I had to be honest with the part I played and then understand what I would do, the different things that I would do to provoke, the different things that I would do to defend, the things that I would do to instigate or try to fix or put something on him or the friend or whoever, whatever the issue. And then once you're honest like that, and it's so painful because it's so embarrassing. Like that's the whole thing is like when someone's defensive, it's because they're embarrassed. They know there's an issue and a problem there, and they're getting defensive because you just hit something that is a raw spot. And that's what would happen to me because I would be like, oh my gosh, like that's not pretty. And I don't like him just ripping, the veil off and everyone could see,
Yeah.
So I had to realize, you know what? Instead of getting defensive, why not look at it and say, what's making me do this? And start healing those things that was making me do that.
Yeah.
Let's start doing some good things so that you could start casting some votes on the good part of who you're becoming instead of continuing to believe the bad stuff. Start doing one little thing at a time that is better for a relationship, that is more honest and real. And that's the work, figuring out myself and what I needed.
Who all did you, because you weren't just sitting at home listening to podcasts, reading books and journaling and praying. Like that was not.
No. So in that recovery group, there was the leader of it really kind of became a spiritual mentor for me.
Yeah.
So she and I would speak once a week, and she really helped me a lot with the shame, with some of my bad habits, and boundaries and things like that.
What? Okay, if you guys are listening to the podcast, you can't see this.
Oh,
There's a sign behind me that I had custom made. It said she discovered. I put she discovered instead of remembered because I'm like, you don't even know who you were. So I had a sign made that said she discovered who she was and the game changed. And I just realized there's a sign behind you that says she remembered who she is and the game changed.
That's so crazy.
That is
I know I
so.
saw your face and I'm just like, what did she see? What is this?
All of a sudden, I'm like,
Yeah.
is it the same
And
sign
so
behind me?
that was it. I discovered
Yeah.
who I was and the game changed because
It really was the good and the bad. But the thing is, I feel like you got to this place where you finally, for the first time in your life, put both hands out and you said,
yes,
I hold all about me that is good, and I hold all about me that is bad, and I am still okay.
that's you know what? That is a really good way of saying it because that
Yeah.
is where I went, you know what?
Yeah.
I am flawed.
Mhm.
I am a
Mhm.
human being and
Mhm.
I can
Mm.
work to make adjustments, but I
Mhm.
am going to fall down and I
Yeah.
have to be okay with
Mhm.
apologize, which I'm a good apologizer because I mean it. Like I hate hurting people.
Do you feel like you have to get good at it though? Like I feel like when you're kind of a trial and error person,
Uh-huh.
you learn really quickly to get good at apologies
Yeah.
because you have to own that you're going to mess up a lot.
Yeah. And I just feel like it's only fair to say
Mhm.
like, you know what, my bad. Like
Mhm.
that was not
Mhm.
good. Now, of
Yeah.
course, repeating it over and over and over and again is not good. So I
Yeah.
just had to be okay with being flawed
Mhm.
and then look at my strengths and start going, okay, I'm going to live over here. I'm going to
Yeah.
really work on these. And that's why I like strength finders. That's why I like Enneagram, because if you know these negative sides of you, you could really you look to, okay, how can I mitigate? How can I like put
Yeah.
so
Leverage it. It's
yeah.
called leveraging. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of people struggle with the Enneagram because of that. They go, "Oh, the Enneagram, what is this thing?" And they might take a test or they read a book or they listen to a podcast and there's these parts that point out maybe not their best self and they go, "Oh, that thing is so dumb and it's so flawed." And it's like, it's not dumb and flawed.
And
You
why is it
just don't
focused on so
like,
much negative?
yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't even see it as negative. My Enneagram 7 mom would always say, that my grandmothers, both of them, just had, she felt like they were pretty critical. And I was like, that's so interesting. I always felt like they were just helping me try to live my best life. But that's such an 8 view versus 7 view.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Oh, for sure.
they're,
I
like
felt
ones or
like that a
eights.
lot. I have felt that
Yeah.
I was, people were critical of me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think they were just trying to help me.
Yeah.
But sevens, you have to be gentle with them when
Mhm.
coaching and guiding because there has to be hope. There has to be a positive side. And so I think the awareness. So then when I met Justin, we talked about Enneagram and Strength
Yeah.
Finders, and he was very open to figuring it out. I said, because it's really important for us to understand, compatibility and relationship wise, how are you wired and is it going to work? And
Mhm.
so, once I saw, and he was really honest and it's like, oh yeah, this is totally me. Like I tend to do that. But I
Mhm.
think he is a counter too, actually. Um, in that he's very strategic in how he serves. He's just not someone who's like, here, forget about me. It's like,
Yeah, he's not helping to the detriment of himself.
no,
He's strategically helping.
totally, which I love
Yeah.
because I hate the whole martyr
Yeah.
thing. And so
Yeah.
it's cool in that
Oh,
understanding that and really being raw and open
yeah.
and knowing that there were certain key things that I learned in marriage that was very, very important.
Mm.
And, one, of course, your core values, but there are certain things about temperament and uh, people in relationships, how they handle relationships,
Yeah.
what are their relationships like, and why, and are they willing to work on themselves? And he had had a lot of counseling too, because he'd been married before multiple times. So we both kind of brought to the table this brokenness to say, I want something real. Like I was willing to go to counseling to figure out what went wrong because I want something real.
Mm.
And what we have is so beautiful.
It's fun to watch. Y'all can watch a lot of y'all's day-to-day life on Instagram on stories. I personally enjoy watching it.
Mhm.
I think it's a lot of fun, but I think it's also beautiful to watch your relationship.
Mhm.
So you did the 12-step program, you did the one-on-one mentoring, you did the therapy, you did the work. And I think the biggest thing is you didn't just really quickly glance at where you maybe made some wrong choices. Like you actually worked through it and understood the core of what was causing you to do that, which a lot of those pieces were in your Enneagram.
Mhm.
Like that. I love the Enneagram language gives you language to be able to understand your blind spots.
Yeah.
So it makes it for me, I think it makes it a little less painful.
Well, that's what I would encourage also, sevens, is we like happy. So
Yeah.
knowing your blind spots and knowing your slant and your
Yeah.
weaknesses actually can get you to happy a whole lot faster. 'Cause
Yes.
it's like,
But in like sustainable happy.
yes, because if you're aware, then you can go, okay,
Yes.
these things are going to make me sad. And
Yes.
these things are going to
Yes.
get me into trouble. So,
Yes.
how can I manage these things? Then,
Yes.
when you start to really learn other types, then I feel like I can love Justin well. And
Mhm.
seeing his needs
Yeah.
and going, okay, I may not be able to understand that need because I can't relate to it all. And this is a problem that people have in relationships, is that need seems so bizarre. It really, like, maybe that's not like,
I mean, I'm an 8 married to a 9,
yeah, like that doesn't really seem real. But
Yeah.
it's so
But
real
yeah.
to them that if you honor it, you'll
Mhm.
be blown away at
Yeah.
the actual like
Mhm.
benefit from it.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like don't hide from your flaws, face them so that you can stay in a happy place.
Yes.
For
So facing them, this is your biggest advice for a 7. Face your flaws so you can have actual sustainable joy,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so 7s, don't leave us here. But I'm going to list a couple common conflict activators, things that tend to kind of trigger y'all up, and I'll see what you say about them. And maybe we can say about how you work through it. So one of them is being limited, restrained, dismissed, or not taken seriously.
Number one, number one, number one is when I feel dismissed,
Mm.
not heard.
Hmm.
You don't have to agree with me,
Yeah.
but I want to feel heard. And like there's it's being dismissed is, I'm telling you, oh,
I think my mom and I struggle with this because I will call her to tell her something so specific, and then she gets excited about something in the middle of me telling her, and then she really wants to tell me this thing, and usually I let her, and then I forget what I called her for, and then I remember it later, and I'm so mad because I'm like, I literally called you for an actual reason that we needed to discuss, and and we're 2 hours apart, so it's harder to catch, right?
mm,
So I've started doing this thing where I'm like, hold on. Can I please tell you about what I'm trying to tell you about? And she says, yes, yes, of course. But I always can feel she's not annoyed, but she's like, it's that. I think she feels dismissed.
mhm.
And so I'm like, gosh, like, how do I make you
Well,
realize, like,
I'll
I'm
tell you
not
how
trying to
here's
dismiss
the
you.
easy fix.
What?
Here's the easy fix.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm calling you because you're the first person I thought of, or I wanted to share this with you. I want to hear what you're excited about today
Yeah.
too. So let me share this so that I can hear about yours next.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's saying, because
Acknowledging.
yeah, it's just acknowledging, like, because sometimes like Justin will come home and he
Hmm.
shares all the things, all the things, all the things, and then I
Hmm.
don't get to share mine. And I'm like, you don't even care what I did today. Like you don't.
Dude, I'm married to a 9. You know how long his stories take so long that by the time he's done sharing his long stories, I'm too tired to share my stories.
No.
So I've got a 7 who's so excited to share her stories. She has to share them first. I've got a 9 who's got to get it out and share them for 87 hours. And then by the time I'm done, I'm like, all right, well, everybody's in bed now. And I still haven't shared my own story.
And this is relationships, and that's why being sensitive. So I have really tried to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
realize that I'm being overly sensitive
Yeah.
and that I need to just be like, he does care. I know he cares.
Yeah.
I can be so dramatic sometimes. Like, you don't care about me. What about you? And it's not true. He just needs his freedom. Like he has a lot of a
Yeah.
need for freedom. And so I can't like
Pounce on
so
that.
needy. Yeah.
Okay. Another activator is being required to do mundane tasks. So how's that working out for you
Yeah. Slip.
on the ranch? Well, because so you've been doing the ranch for a little while now.
Yeah. 2 years.
Yeah. 2 years. So have there started to be tasks that feel mundane that are no longer new and fun and spicy? And how are you working through that?
That's funny. I really enjoy feeding the animals. I still do.
Yeah.
It's the so it's that hasn't become mundane. And I think it's because I change it up. Like we move them around, we have different hay, like now we have new baby goats. And so like there's a little bit of a shakeup to it. So it's an adventure. So that it stays interesting.
Yeah.
But I cannot handle like I hate mundane tasks and it's not that I can't do them. I just my mom was a 2 and
Yeah.
she could sit and paper clip pieces of paper like she could do the most tedious thing. I was just going was like ripping my nails off. Like I can't she loved it. So it was great having her around.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I am a master delegator. Like I don't
Yeah.
avoid things and be irresponsible and not get them done. No, I just hire someone.
Yeah.
You can't
Same.
handle things not being done. So
Yeah.
I have other people do it.
Yeah, I love that. I agree. It's probably my wing seven that goes, I've never understood the need to have control and not delegate. I will delegate absolutely anything. Like in my direct sales business, would have this product that labels needed to be put on, and I would rather go do anything in the world that creates income other than that and pay someone to do that. Like I'm not going to do my laundry. I'm not going to do
I
any
love
of them.
laundry. I do have to say I do love laundry.
What? Apparently, I need to find a place in my brain to love laundry.
I love it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think it was my
There's
chore
something.
growing up, but it's a
Mhm.
sense of accomplishment.
Okay. And it does create order,
I
right?
love
So maybe
things
it's
put
like
away. I love
the
clean,
mess
put away.
makes you a little stressy, right? So a seven goes to
Pile of
one
it.
when they're in
Like as
stress.
soon as
Yeah.
there's like it gets up to, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta do the laundry.
Mhm.
I love it.
Okay, so seven goes to one in stress, obviously, and then you want to create some order and then you can have more fun. But a seven also goes to five when they feel safe and secure in their environment, that researcher, that professor, that teacher. What does that look like for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so great because right now I'm not stressed. I really am actually going through a stage of like boredom because I am on this ranch. I don't really know anybody. And so I'm alone a lot. And so that's where a little bit of my anxiety is coming in. So I create like I'm looking for things to organize and to do to give me like, okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. But because I have so much more peace and actually I love my everything else about my life,
Yeah.
is that I have more patience in my coaching and my teaching and taking the time to learn and prepare.
Do you think that getting really settled into yourself and your inner peace and facing all that is good and all that is bad about you, has that caused your kind of like inner joy junkie to calm down a little? Where you're not seeking the next high as
Yeah.
much in an adventure?
Yeah. In some ways,
In some ways, yeah.
I I love my life, but I am like I do need stimulus. And I
Spontaneity.
get little like changing my hair. Like
Yeah.
that was
Oh
like
yeah.
fun. That was like so
Yeah.
fun. And a little trip to somewhere or decorating. Like, so I've
Yeah.
found ways that are
Okay.
healthy to
Yeah.
indulge in, which is I know Justin thinks I'm probably spending a lot because I'm like indulging myself in decorating. And
Yeah. But it feels good. It's like how you're changing it up right now,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I need that little
Yeah.
change.
Okay. So in this seven fashion, I'm going to list a couple ways of how to get along with you best. And one of the ways is give you freedom and space to be your independent self and accept all of you just as you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sevens can be a lot. I know it. And I even say, like, I know I'm a lot. I know.
In what ways do you feel like you're a lot? I think every number, I hear over and over, every number feels like they are a lot. Like an 8 is a lot in their intensity. You know, my husband will say, like, when you're sad, you're sad. When you're mad, you're mad. Actually, when I'm sad, I'm mad. When I'm mad, I'm mad.
Right.
But when I'm happy, I'm really happy. You know, it's just
Right, right.
everything is very kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
intense.
Eight's all
Yeah.
intense. And so
Yeah.
I think that for sevens, the way that we can be a lot is that we constantly need stimulation. Like we constantly need to be doing something. And so I know I drove my family crazy. They loved sitting and watching movies. I hate movies.
Oh my gosh, sometimes my mom eats standing up. Like we are sometimes, okay, this is
Oh,
real in our family. If my mom is listening to this, she's probably heard us even tease. Like if one of us is standing up and eating, we're like, Barb, sit down. Because she almost like can't even sit down to eat a meal.
yeah. So it's that constant needing, like, hey, what
Yeah.
time? What do you want to do? Let's go. And then we have to be
Yeah.
accomplishment.
And she would say, I'm just too busy to do it. I'm too busy to sit down. And I'm like, but can you not be?
I know it's so hard because
Yeah.
it's a lot, because he's like, can we just like relax? I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Like, I don't understand.
Why?
We can sit for a little bit, but even like when we're
Yeah.
sitting watching TV, I am up 3 or 4. I'm like, you need anything? He goes, no, I'm fine.
I was fine 10 minutes ago. I'm
I'm
still
up,
fine.
down, up, down. I'll do a
Yeah.
puzzle. That helps too. I
Okay.
don't know how many
Yeah.
sevens out there like puzzles, but that
Yeah.
helps me to feel like I'm doing something while I'm
Yeah.
watching TV. But
Okay. Because you dislike being limited, bored, restricted, or told what to do. And you enjoy life by being enthusiastic. Enjoy life by being enthusiastic and positive with me. Is that kind of it? Like even a movie, it's kind of being limited and restricted
oh
because
yeah,
you're
for sure.
stuck in the spot for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big commitment. 2.5 hours.
But you feel that, right? Like you're
I
like
do. I
you're
genuinely do.
joking, but you're not actually joking,
That's
right?
a big commitment. Like I'm like, I don't know if I want to. I don't want to do that. Like there's other stuff I want to do,
Okay.
and that's the thing with telling a seven what to do.
Yeah.
Some numbers, some on the Enneagram, they really like that kind of like, all right, do this, this, and this is where we just want some wiggle room. Like I understand that you need to be told what to do sometimes, but just give us a little bit of latitude. Like it's all right, I can do this, but can I do it when I want and how I want? I'll get it
Yeah.
done. But
Yeah. You almost make the best and worst entrepreneurs all at once. Like it's best for you to be an entrepreneur because you thrive best in freedom and fun and flexibility and getting to decide when you get to do the things, but almost the worst because you are so bored by the mundane tasks that are a business.
That's why I
Feel
delegate.
that?
Yeah. I
Like,
always had help.
yes.
I have
Yeah.
always hired help, and I believe that. And you hire it before you need it. I had time to do it, but I hired it anyway
Yeah.
because
What permission would you give to my cheap sevens? My cheap sevens that are like, but I don't want to hire it out. I don't want to spend the money. I don't have the money. I don't think I need help. I can do it. I can do it. I can do
I
it.
tripled my income. I literally, I made so much more money faster than people as I was willing to cut in other ways. I cut the money expenses in other areas of my life in order to be able to pay someone to do these mundane tasks that were imperative. It was communication. It was a newsletter, or it was a, correspondence. It was logging my sales. It was something that was vital. But I knew that if I did it, I would hate
The retention tasks,
drain
right? The
my
retention
energy.
tasks.
I wouldn't have the energy to talk to people.
Yeah. And if you avoid them, then you have no retention in your business.
Totally.
But also, if you do them yourself, then it kind of stresses you out. So you go to the one and then you're resentful of your business, correct?
Oh, huge. And it just drains. It will, anything you're
That bad.
doing that doesn't fit in your wheelhouse or it's actually more draining than labor work, 8 hours of labor and physical labor. So it gave me so much more energy to create and to all the things. So listen, I'm telling you, do not hold the penny so close you can't see the dollar.
Mm,
That would be probably one of my biggest things of why I had such huge success pretty quickly when I got my
Yeah.
life straight, was because I got help in those areas. The
was
thing,
that after the 10 years? Like
yeah, it was
you
after the
kind of
10
messed it
years.
all
The
up?
10 years I was crazy. But
Yeah.
as soon as like I snapped out of it, I didn't have the money. I was
Yeah.
newly divorced, living in an apartment, sole
Hmm.
supporting myself. Like, and I
And
was,
on the East Coast, right? Like it was expensive where
oh
you live.
yeah. Yeah, I was in
Yeah, it was.
Jersey in an, apartment in North
Yeah.
Jersey, very close to Manhattan. And but I was strategic of
Yeah.
starting with 10-hour, like small amount of hours, a few hours a week for someone to do the
Mhm.
mundane. And then it grew as I
Yeah.
grew. But absolute sevens, I think more than any other number, which I guess isn't true, but I feel like they need help more than anybody else because they're
Oh, I agree with you hands down.
so
Because we talked a little bit before we hit record. You have to kind of admit most sevens have a little bit of the squirrely brain.
totally.
Like, boop, ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Focus is so hard.
So hard. And so by delegating, there's two reasons for delegating. One, you delegate the tasks that you have a really hard time focusing on. And two, you delegate the things that just aren't fun.
Right. Yeah, it drains you.
Because it drains you. Because you are your best self when you get to live in the joy and the fun and the excitement, right?
Uh,
And so then when you're delegating all the things that aren't,
I knew those things were done. So it was like, like it was the best feeling knowing
Yes.
they're done. I don't even have to
Mhm.
think about it. Now I can go
Mhm.
be with the people and I can
Mhm.
connect and I don't have this and that. Oh gosh, I gotta, oh,
was there ever a piece of you that you almost didn't even want to attract to new business because you didn't want to do the mundane tasks associated with it?
no, because I always delegated.
Because you always delegated it.
I'm not even kidding. Like,
I see this in some sevens though. Like, can you see that where that would come from? Where it's like they are sabotaging their own business, not pulling in new business in certain areas because they don't like the mundane tasks associated with it. But the biggest thing is if they would delegate them, they wouldn't have to deal with that.
I am not exaggerating. You will double your business when
Mhm.
you delegate those
Mhm.
tasks because those tasks are so important.
Mm.
I knew how important. So 'cause some people go, "Oh, just keep getting new business. Just keep getting new business."
Yeah.
And so they're working like crazy getting those business because the back door is wide open.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my
Oh,
best friends, one of my best
oh,
friends who is
well,
a seven, she literally, her whole company, it's called Unique Genius, and it's about delegating absolutely everything to her. She has hundreds of virtual assistants. No whole company is about delegating everything that is not your unique genius. And I'm like, no, Ange, it's really you're delegating everything that's not fun.
which
I
is
mean, it is
to
not your
you because
genius,
it's not fun to
but
you.
yeah,
Fun to somebody else,
yeah,
you know, or
that's
whatever, or you're
hysterical.
helping, somebody else make money, which is wonderful. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
know that was one of the biggest separators for me than other people that could have done just as much, but they
Yeah.
weren't willing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you were top 0.00% of success in your previous career for years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
retention.
Yeah. And here's my thing is you didn't just go up, you didn't just like explode up and hit it once. You were top tier for a long time, year after year after year after
Yeah,
year after year.
yeah,
Highly
really,
sustainable
really
success.
straight 25 years of in the
Mhm.
top 10 to 30 of the whole entire
Company.
company. But and I really truly attest that to um, of delegating and having these systems. I am a systems queen.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I do help small business owners with systems. That's one of the things I
Mhm.
do some business
Mhm.
consulting for that
Mhm.
reason because I can simplify. I can see someone's business and see
Mhm.
where you could clean it up and simplify so that it runs
Mhm.
more efficiently and it frees you. The amount of bandwidth you have in your creative
Yeah.
an ability to listen, connect, network, think,
Yeah.
dream, create. It's freed when you have systems
Yeah.
and delegate.
I think I have more areas of my business I'm going, I have other areas I really want to delegate, but I feel like I receive shame, not from my husband,
Mhm.
from other people about the delegating of that. They're like, you could just do that. I'm like, but I don't want to.
Yeah. Don't do it. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. Listen, you guys, design your life. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And of course,
You truly don't. If it's not fun to you, you just don't do it. You delegate it.
absolutely.
I love that. I love that.
And
Okay.
it's about having fun. I'm a 7.
Yeah.
So I want to have
Yeah.
fun. And I don't have any qualms
Mhm.
of paying someone to do something I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
Because
now,
you know that you will make 2 to 3 to 4 times more money on the back
I'll
end
be a
in the
nicer
long game.
person. Yeah.
And you'll be a nicer person. The world will benefit. Okay. So a couple more questions. What brings you the most joy? And how do you create space for that? Because it's kind of how do you allow yourself to make space for that? I think a lot of women know, oh, this is what brings me the most joy, but they don't let themselves carve out that space for it.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I love work. So I, um,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
really,
you love the work that you love.
yes.
What does that look like for you now? What work do
What
you love right
coaching,
now?
so I have these pods. So,
Mhm.
and they run for a quarter, and then
Of women, like
yes,
small groups
small
of
group of women, 5 to 8
Mhm.
women.
Yep.
And so we meet on Zoom every other week, and then I do a recording every other week. And then
Yeah.
I do a lot of one-on-one coaching with it too. So a lot of these group type things tend to be
Mhm.
group. Well, I can't do that because I am such an individualistic, like personalized, customized person.
Is individualization in your top 5 for
My
strengths?
top 10.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of one-on-one
Mhm.
as well in this group thing. And that's where, like, I got a message yesterday where this girl goes, I have listened to that same last message and I'm bawling and I can't stop listening to it. And so when there's that kind of a revelation, because I think we know it ourselves, but when someone else, you get another set of eyes of somebody reading your profile in a way that's all like to what God intended you to be. We don't ever arrive there, but what you who you are in His eyes and how He wired you and everything. So then when you speak that into them, it's so different hearing it from someone else because you can read and go, yeah, that's
Mhm.
me, yeah, that's me. But when someone describes you to you, then you're just like, oh my God, and then helps you actually walk
Mm.
in it. That I love,
Yeah.
and I love it, I love it. So, I mean, other, like, as far as just, like, no value of anything, I
Yeah.
like, just hanging out with my goats.
Yeah. Because you've seen you've traveled all over the world on a bazillion very high, like you earned a ton of top
Yeah.
luxury trips.
Mhm.
Yeah. So do you like going on adventures?
I do. I really do. Like, I love not having to think about it. So you just
Yeah.
go and there's just, like I love luxury, so, the
Yeah.
beautiful places that we've stayed and the beautiful just being able to my idea of fun
Yeah.
is being able to have wonderful food,
Mm.
conversation that's just not being rushed and being able to have some good conversation with good forward thinking people. My God.
Squeezing
Yeah.
all the juice out of the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to people who have a 7 in their life?
Um, encourage. You know,
Mhm.
sandwich the whenever there's a problem, just know they care deeply, and so be gentle.
Mm.
They
Be
may
gentle.
yeah,
I
just be
feel that.
gentle because they, literally, they're the one number that negativity or criticism or sadness is so difficult.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. And so just know that they're not, Pollyanna. It's just really hard for them to process
Mm.
sad. Like even grieving my mom,
Mm.
I didn't just like, curl up in a ball and cry. And
Yeah.
What did that look like for you?
I just
Grieving her.
processed it. I have my moments. It comes out in other ways,
Yeah.
but I can't park on sad.
Um, recently there was someone in my direct sales career, like I found out their position shifted. But before I found out from my mentor, my former mentor who has a 7, I wake up one day at 6 in the morning. Like she'd send it to me at like 4 a.m. my time. And it was this like 10 different sentences about all the reasons that I'm amazing. And I was like, are you dying? What is going on? Like, literally, what is going on right now? Like, this is normal, but like, this is actually over the top even for you. What is going on? And I was like, this is the weirdest thing. And I like walk out in the garage, my husband's working, I show him, I'm like, is she dying? Like, what is going on? Am I dying? Who's dying? This is so weird. And then 10 days later, I figure out, oh, she knew that when I found out, she'd found out and she didn't know if I'd found out. And she knew that when I did, I would be so sad and so devastated. And so then when I messaged her like, oh my gosh, I found out this, person no longer works there, super sad about it. And you knew though, didn't you? And she goes, I did. Are you okay? And I was like, no. And she's like, do you want to talk about it? I'm like, not yet. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like she knew I would be so sad that she like with the best intention, love bombed the heck out of me at 4 a.m.
Right. I know, right?
Just like didn't want me to be sad though,
Yeah. And just
Yeah.
know though that a lot of times 7s won't be sad.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to grieve the same way as somebody else.
Yeah.
They're going to move on pretty quickly.
Yeah. Because they can't sit in the sad, right?
It's not that they're not sad. It's not that I don't miss my mom and I'm sad that she passed away. But I also hated seeing her. She had no quality of life. It was almost a relief because she was not the happy mom that I had. And so I was okay with it. Like, so, so I'm sad, but I'm not someone who's just like, oh my gosh, like, was Mother's Day a little bit weird? Yeah, it was a little weird, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. My mom, again, who's a 7, when my grandma died, I never thought about it like that it was almost, I remember her saying it was a relief, but she had dementia, so it wasn't fun.
Right.
Right. And I can see that where, because their quality of life has slipped so much, it's actually easier, right? In a weird way that they are now.
It's hard because, you don't want to admit it. Like, I don't want to sound like
and you're not being,
so
you don't mean it to be bad. It's just like them being in pain.
I was close to my mom. Like, I love, my mom was the best mom.
Yeah.
But it was time.
Like watching her in pain was so painful for you that it was easier to physically lose her on this earth than it was to watch her be in pain one more day.
Now, the times I'm sad is when I can't have the happy I used to have with her. Like when I would drive, we would have cute little conversations. She always made me laugh. So that I could cry because it's those little happy things that I miss.
Yeah.
Helped in my.
Is it like my mom always retells this story about the day that the 3 of us went dress shopping, and I don't know, there was like this random joke that I can't even remember it because I'm like, oh, whatever. But she tells it so many times, and I'm always like, why do we have to talk about the story so many times? But I guess I've never thought in her 7ness, she's really needing to relive like the fun and the joy and the happy of that.
That's what
moment.
I miss is the fun part of our family because both of my parents are deceased now. So I miss, that I feel really, because I could call her and feel better and I don't have anyone to call anymore,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's those
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. I feel like that's so good for 7s to understand their own grief process. So it doesn't have to be attached to that thought there, but what permission would you love to give to our Enneagram 7 women of the world?
Is, you know what? Light up that room. Show up and be energy and be happy. And it may make some people uncomfortable, but do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Do it anyway, because don't try to hide your funness and your silliness. Yes, there's a time and a place for things, and read the room. You know when you need to read the room.
Yeah.
But in general, find people who value your spontaneity. I I know that, I lost a friendship recently because, she could not handle my ability to, um, to pivot and make
Mm.
like a decision that like she wouldn't make. And so just know that sometimes the way we make decisions and what makes sense for us is not going to make sense for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I seek good counsel, so I understand when I'm just doing what I want to do and I don't care and blah blah blah, because there has definitely been times like that.
Yeah.
But trust that as you get to know yourself and those sides that
Yeah.
I
love that.
You're going to be some people aren't going to understand, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, and like the right people will love your inner party.
Yep.
Right? Because at the end of the day, you are fun, you are joy, you are party. It looks a little different for every seven, but the right people will love that and just find those people.
Yeah, because like you were saying, a friend of ours that likes to travel all the time, like always be.
Yes, she does. Robin will love to hear her name.
I know.
Yes,
Sorry,
Robin. You know it, Robin.
I love that you do it anyway, because some people I know have thought that it's irresponsible or you're running away. She needs it. It fuels her fire. And I have another friend. She's not a seven, which is really interesting, but she's fun and pleasure. I think she's a seven. She says she's a three, but she's traveling all the time.
I bet she's in a three environment so thick she thinks she is.
I
I see
know,
that a
right?
lot. I see it a lot. I see it a lot.
Always has to be going and doing something fun and is more productive that way. So find what fuels you, and if other people judge it or they don't understand it, you do.
I mean, my wing seven is strong. And I recorded 6 episodes last week and 6 episodes this week. So I can be off for 9 days straight because my brother and his wife and their 2 boys are coming. And we're going to see all the things that 4-year-olds and 8-year-olds love in Arizona. All things dinosaur, all things space. Like we're in the dinosaur and space era. And I am so motivated to kill it for 3 weeks of the month to be off. I mean, it just, I got bottomless energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel that wing sevenness of, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It drives them.
Got to have that something to look forward to.
Yeah. Got it. Oh, I love that. Okay. How do women find you? Because they can work with you one-on-one. They can work with you in the pods. They can also come Airbnb on your ranch. So we could put your Airbnb link as well.
Okay.
How do women find you?
Well, I've kind of like been adjusting my social media presence and just really so anyway, there's going to be some fun new things coming on Instagram and YouTube. That's going to be the authentic 7 Cindy. Enough of me trying to be this social media says you have to be. I went, you know what, this is not working for me.
I'm over it.
All this perfect profile color scheme. So you're going to get some real good raw Cindy. And YouTube and Instagram are the 2 places. Face it with Cindy Mac, because I teach and promote facing things head on so that we can get to the other side of happy.
I love it. I love how you've embraced that. Like you've embraced the ultimate of a 7, where it's like, I'm helping these women face the hard stuff so we can get to the happy that's sustainable and authentic.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm obsessed with it. We'll put everything in the show notes. So we'll put your Instagram there and your YouTube handle there. And we can put your Airbnb link there if you want. We can put your probably you have a website.
Yeah. I have a website.
So they can look and
Face it with Cindy Mac. And
take a look at the coaching pods.
Yep. And then and then we are going to have a landing page for the ranch. So, because there is horse boarding as well as the Airbnb and event, things like that. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
More to come.
So many fun things.
I know. I love it.
Okay. All right, you guys. Dive into those show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, which I feel like a lot of you probably are, we've got it down below. So just look below. All the links are there. Cindy, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for me personally. Thank you for the last 16 years of just your journey and sharing that and being so honest about everything that went great, but also everything that didn't, and then how you pivoted and moved on from that. And thank you so much for jumping on here today and doing, I think it's the hard stuff of, being a seven and getting on here and being honest with everyone so that way they can learn, and for helping everyone. So thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you so much.
You're awesome.
All right, All Things Excellence fam. Until next time, thank you again for listening.
Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step, or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you, and my intro clarity call is a great place to start, because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.